A major climate legal case in Montana. Get this. So a state court in Montana ruled in favor of a group of young people. These young people argued that the state of Montana has failed to protect their constitutional right under the state constitution there to a clean environment. That's what the Constitution says, by promoting the use of fossil fuels. So joining us for more on this landmark decision, senior Washington reporter Devin Dwyer. So Devin, you've been following this case. Tell us about these plaintiffs, these young people who come to court saying what the state is doing on the environment is violating our right to a clean and healthful environment.
A fascinating case, the first of its kind to go to trial in the country, Terry, and the first decision of this kind in the country. This was a group of 5-year-olds to 22-year-olds, group of plaintiffs. They were backed by an environmental group out of Oregon known as Our Children's Trust, and they sued the state, as you said, over the Constitution. They said that the state was violating their right to a clean and healthful environment by promoting fossil fuels. And what was remarkable in this decision is that the judge, in a methodical way, laid out how state action, state policies were promoting fossil fuels, and that in turn was harming these kids. There was an injury through the wildfires, the drought, the floods that they say they experienced. And in very visceral terms, over 7 days of testimony, they laid out the impacts to their physical and psychological health, and she sided with them. A remarkable decision.
And the court also, because once again, as you point out, this is not an abstract case. The judge heard testimony from the young people, also from scientists and from others, from witnesses for the state saying, no, we aren't doing that. And in the end, she found that their constitutional rights were violated. And the state's going to appeal. What do you think of that?
You know, we knew this was going to be a long shot for these kids to win this case. You know, these kinds of cases have certainly been brought over the past, decades. None of them have ever succeeded. So this is an anomaly. This is a bit of a surprise, but the state is vowing to fight this. They said this was a political stunt. They say these sorts of policy decisions about the environment should be left to the elected legislature of the state of Montana. They don't really have a good answer for what to do with the constitutional language, which the text is very clear there. But the bottom line, Terry, with this decision, the state will now have to consider the impacts of climate change, greenhouse gases, in their policy decisions, their permitting for oil and gas facilities and the like. They don't have to do that right now. So that's a practical impact, but symbolically, huge win for these kids and for other climate advocates nationwide.
And I wonder about the impact on environmental law across the country. There was a great Supreme Court justice, as you know, from Montana, Justice William O. Douglas, who grew up there and once argued in the Supreme Court as a justice, he was the lone vote, that trees should have standing to sue because they were getting cut down too much, was his notion. But in this case, this is more closely hewn to the law in Montana. Do you see this having an impact around the country?
You know, it's interesting. It could lead to more states to pass amendments to get this kind of language in their constitutions. Only a handful of states, 3 states, I think, have language like Montana's that guarantees citizens a right to a clean environment. So this could set off a greening of state constitutions as one way to protect citizens, but no question that the very base here, this is going to add pressure on policymakers to do more. Kids in a number of states, Hawaii, Utah, Virginia, right now have cases like this one suing their state governments to do more about climate change. This decision from Montana is certainly going to lift their spirits as they go forward in those trials.
It's fascinating. Yeah. It's fascinating. Young people, obviously, the most impacted. They're going to have to live their lives with whatever the effect is.
It's their future. That's right.
Absolutely. Devin Dwyer, as always, thanks very much.
Thanks, Terry.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.